I strongly believe in the idea of Christians owning property. The world is better off with Christians in positions of financial strength, and cash flowing property can do just that. My friend Steve has built a substantial real estate portfolio here in New Hampshire, and now he's teaching Christian brothers to do the same. Go to consultingbycurios.com. He's got options where he coaches you through buying your first rental property or done-for-you options for busy people. Again, visit consultingbycurios.com. The link is in the description. All right, it is Friday, November 1st. Wow. Already November. November is my favorite month, and the reason why is because that's the month I was born in, and it's the true kind of kickoff to the holiday season. It is a wonderful month. The weather is crisp. There's apples. There's delicious, hearty meals and things like that. Even my second youngest son was born in November, just a few days apart in birthdays. And it's just a wonderful month. I've always loved it. And here we are. Here we are in the month of November. And what I thought I would do today is I would talk about just a reminder, because this is a truth that we all used to know. We all used to know it. It's about the power or lack thereof. The power of name calling. Name calling, you know what I mean? Because the power of name calling is one of those weird things, right? Where it's like there is certain power in it, when you call someone a racist or a misogynist. Ooh, that's a good one, misogynist. Something like that. You call them a bigot, and all of that kind of thing. Or, more recently, anti-Semitic, crypto-Nazi, these kinds of words, right? And the reason they're used is because traditionally these words have held great power. You get labeled a racist and nothing could be worse. Nothing could be worse. You might as well be a leper in the old days when you had to avoid everybody and, it was a big black mark on you. It'd be hard to get a job. It'd be hard to keep a job. It'd be hard to get anyone to take you seriously because you're a racist. That's why those words are deployed. But the thing is, we all recognized not that long ago, maybe, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. Collectively, we realized that the reason these words have the power that they do is because we allow them to have that power. They're like magic words. They don't really do anything, but in your mind they do something, and that's enough. That's enough. And so we woke up one day. This is what it felt like. This is not exactly how it happened, but this is what it felt like. We woke up one day and said, you know what? I don't believe in magic. Yes, the time has come for this reminder, because all of a sudden, in the past year or so, we've kind of started to believe in magic again. And maybe not with racist, maybe not with bigot, maybe not with misogynist and anti-vaxer, because that's what we're going to talk about today, anti-vaxer. Maybe not with those kinds of words, but with anti-Semite and crypto-Nazi and side B Nazism and all of that stuff. We've come to believe in magic again. At least some of us have. At least some of us have. And I am going to produce this episode to remind you why it is that we don't believe in magic anymore. A lot of people who had broken the spell, they had broken the spell. They've been called every name in the book, and they realized one day, they woke up and they said, I don't care anymore. And guess what happened? Life just went on. Not only did life go on, but you were thriving, my friends. You were thriving. The minute you stopped believing in fake magic, you started thriving. And your influence grew. And in a lot of ways, your job prospects grew. And your general sense of happiness grew. And you were thriving, man. You were thriving. But something has happened where we believe in magic again. And everybody's miserable about it. Well, my friends, I'm going to try to wake you up today. Let me stop there for a moment. Let me just say this. We've got to talk about a little bit of baseball. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. So if you want to fast forward a minute, go ahead and fast forward a minute. I'm going to time myself. An article came out yesterday about the Yankees, and it is one of the most true articles I've ever seen. Because as I've said on the channel, I do watch Yankee games. I don't watch quite as many Yankee games as I do Mets games, but I watched quite a bit of Yankee baseball. And one of the things this article said was that the Dodgers scouting report about them basically said that they are fundamentally flawed. They don't do the little things right. The stuff that you learned in Little League, they don't do well. And basically, all you have to do to beat the Yankees is put pressure on them to make plays all the time. Take the extra base, take the extra couple inches on the lead, force them to make a play because they won't. They won't. And this is so true. The Yankees all year have been this way. They're kind of lazy. You know what I mean? They assume that they'll hit enough home runs to win. They don't really cover the bases. They don't hustle. They don't do they're bad base runners. And man, it was amazing that it's so true all series, but that fifth inning, it all came to roost at once, and that was the end of the Yankees. It is a beautiful thing when you get confirmation that your eyes are not deceiving you. That's what the actual statistics said. The Yankees are in a tough spot. Very talented, but don't know how to play baseball. That's a problem. That's a problem. All right, that's a minute. We'll move on. So anyway, the magic words, right? I saw this video shared by Vigilant Fox, and it's a clip from J.D. Vance's interview on Joe Rogan. Now, I don't watch Joe Rogan. I've never seen a single episode of Joe Rogan, including the Trump one, which I really kind of want to watch, but I just like the idea of being able to continue to say I've never watched an episode of Joe Rogan, so I'm not going to watch it. Plus, I get the advantage that people clip the best parts, so I get to watch the best parts, even though I don't see the episodes. So anyway, this is J.D. Vance talking about the fact that he got a vaccine injury when he got the COVID vaccine. Now, I'm a little surprised he got the COVID vaccine, to be honest with you. Not that surprised, but a little surprised. And let's just hear him talk about it, because this is so interesting.
That whole thing they pulled off with exemption of pharmaceutical companies being responsible for injuries from vaccines
from the vax was crazy.
It's crazy because you just empower these people that have lied forever. Yeah, it does still exist.
And it still exists, and that is totally insane. And I mean, I took the vax, and I haven't been boosted or anything, but the moment where I really started to get red pilled on the whole vax thing was the sickest that I've been in the last 15 years by far was when I took the vaccine. And I've had COVID at this point 5 times. I was in bed for 2 days. My heart was racing. I was like, the fact that we're not even allowed to talk about that, even, no like serious injury, but even the fact that we're not even allowed to talk about the fact that I was as sick as I've ever been for 2 days, and the worst COVID experience I had was like a sinus infection. I'm not really willing to trade that. And you don't even, everybody that I know, or a lot of people I know, they talk about the second shot that they got of the vaccine made them really, really sick. Well, that's a side effect, and not a side effect that we even talk about enough in this country.
No, it's also, again, we're talking about companies that have a long history of lying and being forced to pay criminal fines, and then we're giving them this exemption from being responsible for any of the side effects.
Yeah, and who do you think those big pharma companies donate to politically in 2024? I'll give you a big fat guess.
Probably Kamala Harris.
By a significant margin.
Well, it's a weird one where you're not even allowed to question it. You're not allowed to discuss it.
Oh, sure.
And that becomes very religious, just like all these other things that we talked about, where you have this thing that everybody speaks about in hushed tones. People know people that have been vaccine injured, and particularly people on the left, they're very reluctant to discuss it, even publicly.
Yeah.
I know people who are public people who have had serious vaccine side effects who do not want anyone to talk about it.
Absolutely.
They're scared of being labeled an anti-vaxxer.
I have a Senate colleague who doesn't want to talk about it, but worries that it's like permanently affected his sort of sense of balance and dizziness and vertigo. And it happens. I've talked to a number of people who think that they got vaccine injured. Some of them are public about it, and some of them are not.
All right. All right. So, very interesting clip, very sad. I know people in my personal life who have gotten the vaccine. Luckily, I don't know of anyone that's been vaccine injured, at least apparently. And it's a very sad situation because, I know there's a lot of good people that just did it. You know what I mean? And some of them were pressured into it. Some of them did it because they're very trusting and all of this kind of thing. But what I wanted to point out in that clip was that there are people who got vaccine injured. Some of them, they feel like it might be permanent. You know what I mean? It's been years at this point, and they still feel the effects. And they won't talk about it publicly. And these are people in positions of power, public figures, people that have a platform. And they won't talk about it for fear of being labeled an anti-vaxxer. That's the magic word, anti-vaxxer. So if you talk about the truth, or even ask questions about the truth, if you even hint that maybe you're not so sure about what you were told about the vaccine, you could be labeled an anti-vaxxer, and that could destroy your reputation. I think you got to remember that when I talk about destroying someone's name, this is a real destruction. It is a real thing. It affects your life in real terms. And many of these people that were pressured into the vaccine, there was fear put in them. They would lose their job if they didn't get the vaccine. And they've got kids, and they've got a wife, and they've got a real responsibility to provide for those people. And so they did it. They took the vaccine, and they can't talk about the fact that, this wasn't a good thing, because they're afraid of being labeled an anti-vaxxer. This is why these kinds of magic, words are used, because it strikes fear in people. It can manipulate people to do or to say or to not do and not say whatever you want them to. It can shut things down because they're so terrified of getting that label put on them. And it's very effective. At least it has been in the past. It's very effective because once you have the stench of being called a racist, an anti-vaxxer, a misogynist, a crypto-Nazi, whatever it is, once you have the stench, it is almost impossible to get rid of it. Almost impossible. No matter what you say or didn't say, no matter what you do or don't do, they will always have that on you. They will always say that's one of those covert Nazis, covert anti-Semites, Jew hatred protector, side B Nazism. These are all attempts of using magic words to get you to say or not say whatever the person wants you to. They're manipulations. They're not descriptive. They're manipulations. The people choosing to use those words are manipulating you. And this is the thing that always is countered. Whoa, AD, what are you saying? That racists don't exist? That Nazis don't exist? That there's no anti-Semites? Is that what you're saying? That's always the counter. And it's effective because, everyone can point to someone who really does hate Jews just because they're Jews, right? Obviously. Or someone that really, they really are, against vaccines just because it's a vaccine. They don't know anything about it. They just know they're against them. They hate science. They don't trust science or whatever it is. Everyone can point to very extreme examples. And some of those, I mean, this is the thing too, like, especially things like anti-vaxxer, stuff like that. Like, I mean, really, who cares? If you're against vaccines, I mean, what's the difference? Like, it's no big deal, right? But I'm just saying, like they can always point to someone that really exists and then say, and that's just what you are, is my point. They can connect you, even though your beliefs are really not that similar. And they'll test you. They'll put you through the struggle session. And they'll say, prove to me. This is a trap, by the way. This is not actually valid or legitimate in any way. They'll say to me, will you denounce so-and-so? Will you denounce so-and-so? They used to do this to Trump all the time. This is back when we knew they were just magic words, right? Will you denounce Corey Mahler? Will you denounce this, crazy anti-vaxxer? Will you denounce, this KKK guy? And they expect you to dance when they tell you to. They expect you to be the little dance monkey when they tell you to. And this is the trap that they're setting for you. Because you could dance for them. You could go ahead and denounce whoever it is they want you to denounce. And you think in your head, well, yeah, this is my way out because I don't believe what Corey believes, or I don't believe what this anti-vaxxer believes. I don't believe, what this, KKK guy believes. So this is my way out. The stench will be rid of me. That's not how it works, my friend. We used to all know this, but I'm just reminding you. That's not how it works. If you play that game, you will still have the stench, and you'll embolden the person making you play that game. You'll strengthen their argument. You'll strengthen it. So you say, see, anti-Semitism, it's rampant. It's rampant. And that's what you are. That's what you are. It'll never be enough. There's nothing you can do short of completely bowing the knee and obeying everything they want you to do or not do, or say everything they want you to say or not say. That's the only way to get rid of the stench in some people's eyes. It won't even get rid of the stench in all people's eyes, just in the person now interrogating you. But then you've become, then you've just chopped your testicles off. You know what I mean? Like, if you're willing to chop your testicles off to make your life a little easier, I guess you can do that if you'd like. My suggestion, though, is to not care about these magic words. To just not care. Now, there was a time in my life where this is probably the very first time somebody called me an anti-Semite. And it was Joe Carter. Joe Carter from Gospel Coalition called me an anti-Semite. And at the time, the circumstances were it was just a perfect situation for me to really stick it to Joe Carter, just to show how evil he was and how casually he would try to destroy you. And I forced him to apologize to me. I forced him. And I remember at the time I had said something like, he had called me an anti-Semite because I wasn't disavowing someone that had been commenting to me. And it turns out that I had this person muted, and I don't even know why. I mean, he probably attacked me at some point. Who knows? And so I really stuck it to him, and I forced him to apologize, which he did. And it was a great victory, and everyone laughed about it. But in general, when people call me an anti-Semite, and this is the proper response most of the time, in general, when people call me an anti-Semite, I laugh or I ignore. You don't actually have to respond, but if you do, I would suggest laughing at them. Or putting out this is always an evergreen tweet, the Trump meme, who cares? Or you got the 20th Century Fox meme, no one cares. That's a good one. Or you can egg them on and say nothing and then post something about the synagogue of Satan. They love that one. That's the thing, man. That's the thing. And the thing is, like, and I think Joel Webbin had some pretty good advice. Listen, like, they're gonna call you all these names, and if you think that these names that they call you, they really are, founded in evil, just, don't become the thing that they're calling you. If that's what you think is wrong and evil, don't do that. But just move on with your life. Just move on. Don't give these words any power. Anti-Semite has no power. And, I'm training my kids this way, too. They see we're watching baseball and what's the Jewish hate, watchdog? What is it called again? Anti-Defamation League. They put those commercials with the anti-Semite, painting on the Jewish, the poor Jewish mother's garage, and then it'll say like anti-Jew hate has risen 100% in the last 5 minutes and stuff like that. And my kids watch that, and of course my kids, they're sensitive souls, they're good, sympathetic kids, and all of this kind of stuff, and all of this. And they get worried about that. And I say, sons, you don't have to worry about that. You don't. Because there's the things that they call anti-Semitic, Jew hatred, and things like that, 99% of them have nothing to do with hating Jews. Nothing. It's believing Christian things is what gets called anti-Semitic. Sure, there are some people out there that just hate Jews and that would graffiti a Jewish neighbor's garage for no reason. Yeah, sure, that could happen, but it's not rampant. You don't have to worry about going outside and seeing people that are going to hate you for who you are. It's just not how it is in this country. It just isn't. I'm training my kids to spot the falseness of these magic words. That's what my kids are going to be like. You don't like me? Guess what? My 4 sons, God willing, will be just as bad as me, if not 10 times worse. So good luck with that, future generations. Good luck with that. These words don't have any magical properties to them. You're going to hear a lot this November about the crypto-Nazi, force that's worming its way into your churches. And they'll say things like, Israel, not so good a country. And that's how you'll know that they secretly hate Jews and want to gas them all. That's how you'll know. You're going to hear things like, there's covert Nazism and side-B Nazism and all this kind of stuff where it's like you should talk to people who don't believe in the Holocaust like people. like people. And, maybe, just maybe, they're Christians. You're going to hear that stuff and they're going to be like, that's how you know the anti-Semitism is on the rise. It's on the rise. And they're going to use the same guilt by association tactics that you remember from 2020, in the summer of love and all of that stuff. And they are going to expect it to work the same way that this anti-vaxxer slur is working here in this clip. They're going to expect it to be magical. Magical. But here's the truth. You need to believe your eyes. You need to believe your eyes and your brain. And you need to believe what you're hearing. Because some idiot can get on YouTube and tell you that Joel Webbin, who you've heard hundreds of hours of content from, it's not like he's unknown. Some idiot's going to get on YouTube and tell you this is the main proponent of Jew hatred in the Reformed Church. This is a key player. And he's going to expect that word Jew hatred to be magical. And he's going to expect it to do something to your brain that's going to rob you of your sensibilities and realize, yeah, I've heard hundreds of hours of content from Joel Webbin. I haven't heard protecting Jew hatred. And now some idiot is over here telling me, and he uses the magic word, and the magic word is supposed to override all of what you know, all of what you see, all of what you hear. I've never heard Joel Webbin say anything Jew hatred related. I've seen Joel treat Jews like any other group, any other pagan group, any other Christ-hating group. I've seen Joel do that, but I haven't seen him say anything Jew hatred related. Don't allow these magic words to have any effect on you. And if you do feel them having an effect on you, let me save you a little embarrassment. Keep it to your freaking self until you freaking confirm it. How about that? If you do see him saying Jew hatred, sure, if you want to knock him down a peg or two, get online, clip it, and then, go knock him down a peg or two. Go ahead. Joel's a big boy. He can handle it. But if your only evidence of this is some idiot online, keep it to your freaking self. Be concerned all in here. Wait a few days. 48 hours. Give me 48 hours. Give me 48 hours, because a lot of times these spells have a tendency to lose their power over time. Give it 48 hours. It's just like back in the Summer of Love. I'm telling you, this is all a review. This is all a review. Remember when a black guy would get shot up by a cop back in the Summer of Love? And all you had to do to avoid colossal embarrassment, colossal cringe, is to not post on it for 48 hours. That's all you had to do. Because within 48 hours, you heard, oh yeah, that guy was a lunatic. He attacked the cop with the knife. Yeah, he deserved to get shot up. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You don't want to die? I don't know, don't take fentanyl. I don't know. This is all review. It's the same thing. All you have to do is wait 48 hours. 48 freaking hours. And by the way, if you don't believe the story right off the bat, the story that's improbably true, and you post about it within 48 hours, if you're a betting man, I mean, you put it all. You put it all on that, because chances are you are right. If you did that back in the Summer of Love and say, yeah, I don't believe this one, you would have been right. You would have looked like a genius. You want to look like a genius? Then just don't believe the obviously incorrect story. That's all you got to do. Publicly say, I don't believe it. And you will look like a genius. And all it took was just keeping your wits about you when the magic word was deployed. That's it. That's all you needed to do. It's amazing to me that we have to have a review like this. And we do. It's November 1st. We need a review. And the thing is, like, the thing is that, and I've said this on Twitter, and I've seen other people say this too on X, is that I already don't believe the next PSYOP. You know what I mean? I already don't believe it. So there you go. I already don't. That's the attitude you need to take into some of this stuff. You just have to. When you see the, especially, listen, if you don't do it with just typical news stories, do it take a 48-hour deep breath. Every time you see one of these magic words deployed, take a 48-hour deep breath. You could be, the only thing you risk if you do this is you won't be one of the first to condemn it. You won't be one of the first. But guess what? That makes no difference. As long as you condemn it, everything's fine, right? So in your weird worldview where you must condemn everything, I don't understand why you do that, but if you must, you don't really lose too much. But you have everything to gain. You can look like a freaking genius just by waiting 48 hours every time a magic word is deployed. I'm trying to help you out here. If anything, A.D. Robles is here to help. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. Watch for these magic words. And you know what they are. I don't need to provide you a list. These magic words are, they can be powerful, but they're only powerful with when you accept them. What am I trying to say? They're only powerful if you work with it. You know what I mean? You have to work with it. You have to want it. You have to say yes to it. There's no power if you say no. And it's just like Satan to use something like that, right? It's just like Satan to use something like that. Flee the devil, and he will flee from you. I'm sorry. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. The devil looks real scary. He looks like he's powerful. He looks formidable. He looks unbeatable. But all you have to do to defeat the devil, he will run away. He will flee. All you have to do is resist him. That's it. That's it. He's the proverbial bully who you hit him once and he runs to his mommy. He looks tough. He looks tough, and he counts on that. He counts on that. He counts on his tough look, his formidable appearance to get you to do whatever he wants you to do. He counts on that. It's magic. It's all flim-flam. It's all an illusion. Just like the word anti-Semitic. Just like the word side B Nazi. Just like all these words. They appear scary and formidable. And it feels like your life cannot continue unless you deal with this magic word. All you have to do is resist it. That's all you have to do. And my friends, let me give you one more piece of advice too. Another helpful thing here that'll help you resist it is to have a clean conscience. Have a clean conscience. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things that was so striking about, and I'll take this for what it's worth, because this has not been released yet, but the Zoom call, that question of the Tobias, Joel Webbin thing, one of the things that's so striking about it, in addition to what the actual content, right, the actual content, but one of the things that's so striking about it is the different postures of both sides of that conversation. The postures. Because when this comes out, if it does, I'm not guaranteeing anything. If it does, what you're going to hear is the side attempting to deploy these magic words is all emotional. They're flying off the handle. They're calling people names. They're interrupting. They're upset. They're full of anxiety and anger, and they're like an angry woman. That's what they're like. That's how they're sounding. And forget the content for a second. The posture of this. And the side on Joel's side is calm, is at ease, is relaxed. It's because they have a clear conscience. This man knows, he believes taboo things about the Holocaust narrative, about the World War II narrative. These things are verboten. But, he doesn't give the magic words any authority over him. No power over him. And he's got a clean conscience. He is not what these crazy people on the other side of the pond are telling him he is. And he knows it. He knows it. And so he's at ease. He's fielding insults and name calling and all kinds of interruptions and all of this. And I don't have the video, but I just imagine him sitting back just like, would you like me to explain? It's unbelievable. Have a clean conscience. Have a clean conscience. And I'd recommend prayer and asking God to search you and to find out if there's any sin or evil way in you and all of these stuff. Have a clean conscience, and you will be able to resist these magic words so well. You ever wondered why, when you first started watching the channel back in 2020 or 2018 or whatever it was, that I didn't care, I didn't mind being called racist? I didn't start out that way. I mean, I went to school in Connecticut. You know what I mean? Racist was the worst thing you could be when I went to school, right? But I've never had animosity towards someone because of their skin color. I've had prejudices. There's just no I've had prejudices. We've talked about the prejudices I've had. You know what I mean? We've talked about this on the channel. I've been very open about the prejudices that I've had in my life. The stereotypes that I've had. Things like that. But I've never had any kind of animus towards someone simply because, he has black skin or he has white skin or whatever it is. And so if my conscience was clear, and so when someone said I was a racist, my conscience was clear. You know what I mean? I didn't care anymore. And then I realized, oh yeah, these are just magic words. You know what I mean? Then I realized what was really going on. But in the early days, I didn't know. I thought they were really making real accusations at me. You know what I mean? That's what I thought. Have a clear conscience. Resist the magic words. They have no power unless you give them power. The next time somebody tells you to denounce so-and-so, that Corey Mahler's coming up again, I see it on X, denounce him, denounce Stone Choir, all this stuff, right? All of this stuff. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Even if you want to, don't do it. You don't want to give these magic words a foothold. Don't even give them a foothold. No authority whatsoever. No legitimacy whatsoever. Even if you don't like Stone Choir, don't do it. It means nothing. It means nothing to the person asking you, and it means nothing to anybody else, and it means nothing to you and your life. If you don't like Stone Choir, here's a suggestion. Don't listen to it. There's a suggestion. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. By the way, every time someone that's smart, that gets it, that they understood what was going on in 2020 and all this kind of stuff, every time they try to do a struggle session about Stone Choir or about Corey or about anything, every time someone who gets it, that we respect, that we think they're smart and stuff like that, tries to do one of these struggle sessions or tries to deploy one of these magic words, I have a feeling in No Quarter November we're gonna probably see some of those magic words being deployed. Every time someone like that does that, I'll be straight up with you. I don't think I'm alone here. It makes me more interested in maybe firing up that Stone Choir on the podcast network. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. You know what I mean? People always wonder, why do you listen to this? I really don't. I listen to 2 podcasts. You ready for the podcast I listen to? I listen to John Harris, and sometimes I listen to Haunted Cosmos. That's it. Everything else I listen to is either sports related or police interrogations or catching pedophiles on YouTube. That's basically it. But every time somebody tries to struggle session me over Stone Choir or Corey, I just get a little more interested. And maybe one day, I'll listen to it. And every warning about it, it's like, I'm 42 years old, you know what I mean? Got a relatively sound mind. I've got an IQ, that's pretty good. It's been tested. What was Tony Soprano's IQ? I don't remember. No offense, John. No offense, John. Oh man. Yeah, I also watch some Sopranos clips every now and then. That's another thing I watch, Sopranos clips. Yeah, I mean that's my advice to you. These magic words, they're deployed all the time, and it is upsetting to some people. I think that they're seeing them being deployed by people that typically understand the game when it comes to these magic words. My advice to you is to just treat them the same as you would treat anyone. You know what I mean? The witches and the demons were deploying magic words in 2020. And now you're seeing friends deploy magic words. And here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. They're being deployed because they're effective. And a lot of times they start from legitimate concerns, right? But the way they work is the same. They expect them to do magic on your mind. They expect them to close you off from your reasoning. They expect them to override hundreds of hours of listening to someone that you've never heard say anything that the magic word describes, but it's supposed to override that, because surely they wouldn't use such a powerful word if it wasn't legitimate. It's a tactic that was learned. I'm not saying that people deploying these words that you love are like witches and demons, but I'm saying they're using the same tactics as the left. And it's so funny because so often they will do it while saying you're using the same tactics as the left. It is textbook. In any case, I hope you found this video helpful, and I think it's the last video for the week, but we will see. God bless.